Let me ask you about the status of the war and what the White House understands. It seems to me that it is virtually over, that the Russians have conquered the territory that they want. Our friend and colleague, Colonel Doug McGregor, says the elite fighting forces, the Russian elite fighting forces, aren't even in Ukraine anymore. It's almost like the second string is there now. Where does the American, the Biden administration expect this to go? Do they not know how weak the Ukrainians are and how dominant the Russians are?
Well, this is, of course, the big question. Why is it that the White House has not figured out that this is a losing gambit that they're backing? And why aren't they pushing for negotiations, which even Putin and Zelensky at times have kind of suggested might be the ultimate solution to all of this? Instead of that, where we have Biden on his recent trip and his trip to NATO saying that we are backing Ukraine all the way and we're in it until we win it. Now, what kind of a brain comes up with that as an issue of national policy? It's kind of scary. In fact, it goes beyond scary. They might be just playing a game, but I don't think they're smart enough for that.
Let me tell you how scary our colleague Colonel McGregor thinks it is. He thinks we are actually depleting American military supplies that we need for the defense of the United States in order to shore up the Ukrainians. So we're not only making available to them unused excess NATO military supplies, but now, 5 months into the war, they're actually receiving new equipment, which was originally destined for our use. God forbid that we ever need it. So the money the Senate has allocated is not buying equipment for the Ukrainians. It's buying equipment for the U.S. military to replace the American military equipment that has been shipped over there. Do you accept that thesis?
Yeah, I think Colonel McGregor is one of the truly brilliant minds who's looking at this situation. Other sites I would recommend are Moon of Alabama, Larry Johnson. There are a number of people who are coming to the same basic conclusions. And this again strengthens the argument that U.S. troops are on the ground. You don't take billions of dollars of complicated military equipment and ship it into the country. It's coming in by airplanes. It's coming in across the Polish border. And you just don't hand it over to somebody and give them the keys. It doesn't work that way. To operate, I was in the Army. To operate this kind of equipment takes months of training, not just days.
What information is the American intelligence community giving to the White House? Are they telling the White House what they think the White House wants to hear, or are they telling them the real true story of what's going on the ground? By the way, I ran into a guy the other day. He's a lieutenant colonel in the regular Army, but he had civilian clothing on. We weren't expecting to see him there. Would they say something like that in the Oval Office?
That's a good question. I would hope that the president, and Blinken and whoever else is sitting in the room at that time, they are being told the truth. And certainly the intelligence community has the resources to ferret out what is basically the truth in terms of what's going on. But at the same time, these people who are at the top of the intelligence organization in any country, not just the U.S., are politicians. And to a certain extent, they're going to be saying what the audience wants to hear. And that's what scares me. I have a feeling that this is being packaged in a way or framed in a way that in many ways conceals the reality of just how bad the situation for the Ukrainians is. The Russians have achieved basically all the territorial areas that they wanted to achieve on day one. They basically have a land bridge now over the Crimea, and they are in control of the areas where a predominant number of Russians live. So that seems to be about it. But it's really time to start talking and to stop blustering.
Your article begins by recounting that the United States, and I'm quoting you, will establish a permanent headquarters in Poland for the Fifth Army and maintain additional rotational brigades of thousands of troops in Romania and bolster other deployments in the Baltic states. Isn't this taunting and tempting Putin? Isn't this the same? Isn't this the same as the Chinese putting troops on the other side of the Rio Grande?
Yeah, it's exactly that. I mean, it's basically, uh, they're reading the tea leaves exactly the wrong way. Putin made it clear that what he was concerned about was a military alliance arriving there on his front doorstep. And so, what do? Instead of looking for a way to negotiate the situation and to ease off on it, we are putting a military alliance on his front doorstep. We're strengthening it. We're bringing in more troops. We're bringing in more equipment. The whole thing is obscene.